Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Teague and Rick from the Kentucky Baseball Podcast. We're just riddled with awesome guests today, Rick. This has been...
there's like 600 people here.
Yeah, there's like 600 people here.
We can find anybody.
This is pretty cool. But our next one, man, I've been jacked up about this. A friend of ours, obviously, Zeb Bernard of Guardian Baseball, set this up for us, and I'm extremely excited to have Mr. Brandon Geyer on. Brandon, what's up, man?
Oh, man, just enjoying being here. Pleasure meeting you guys.
Yeah.
I'm glad to jump on.
Thanks for being here, dude. So let's start with what your affiliation is with Guardian Baseball.
Yeah. So a couple months ago, Matt, one of the other co-founders, flew into D.C. and talked to me about it, and basically brought me on to do like product design. They're trying to do like a private label line.
Right, yep.
So helping with that, like, I don't know if people can see. I'm wearing like this wristband right here.
Yep, there's a camera right there. They can see it.
Yeah, so like during my career, this was huge. It was like a focal point for me, a mantra or a power statement, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So like in the World Series in 2016, quick story, like at Wrigley Field, I had to go I went in for defense late in the game. I wasn't starting. I got out there. And, I've been doing all this stuff my entire career. I was freaking nervous.
I'll guarantee it, man. World Series, right?
Yeah, that atmosphere and stuff. But it's like,
cool.
How do I calm myself down and to get into the present moment?
Right.
And what I would do every time with this wristband, touch it remind me to take that deep breath. So that's way of me getting into it with Guardian. We're doing wristbands like that with mantras. One's like breathe, trust, compete.
Okay.
We're doing shirts, stuff like that. So just helping out with the private label line and product design. So that's pretty much what I'm doing with them.
Well, and then also kind of what I've seen a lot of, Brandon, is you requesting certain gear, saying, hey, this is, I forget what it was. An email went out about a certain bat company. You're like, hey, look, these guys are making really good stuff. So it's things that people can trust because it's coming from a guy that's done it at the highest levels,
right?
Which is smart in Guardian's aspect, but also really cool of you to kind of get involved and help this world.
Yeah, no, it's something new for me, honestly, but it's been awesome. And I think you were talking about the Stinger bat.
Yeah,
really
there you go.
Cool.
Yeah,
and then this is the first time seeing their facility. So going through today and seeing how the whole operation works, and exactly what they got going on, the people behind the scenes.
Yep.
It's really cool to be a part of, honestly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your playing career. So give us a background of kind of college through professional for us.
Yeah, so college, well, first off, to get to college, it was a grind. First 3 years at Herndon High School in Northern Virginia, very average baseball player. I think as a junior, I hit 270. Really, I was just limiting myself. I had some physical tools, but no mindset. So going into senior year, started to really work on it. Read a book called Heads Up Baseball by Ken Ravizza.
Yep.
Went into the mindset a lot more. Long story short, almost could have picked where I wanted to go to college. I went off senior year, finally put the two together, went to the University of Virginia. Definitely had my ups and downs there. And then got drafted from there to the Cubs. With the Cubs for a couple years, got traded to the Tampa Bay Rays, made my debut with them in 2011.
Okay.
And actually went good, hit a home run my very first big league at bat.
I mean, how cool is
but
that?
But then, it's all downhill
It's a
from
good
there.
start, yeah.
It's all downhill from there.
I mean,
I struck out my next two at bats and sent down the next day.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
So your first,
So you
hang
went
on.
1 for 3 with a home run.
Yeah.
And got sent
Maybe
Maybe
down.
if I went with 2 strikeouts, then
Wow.
I might have stayed, No, but so that's how. But that's life.
But that's-
minor league.
hey.
You have
in the big
options,
leagues, right?
Up and down. So for a couple years like that, was with the Rays for about 4 years on and off, and then traded at the trade deadline in 2016 to the Cleveland Indians, and had the World Series run and a great time there. So yeah, that's kind of a quick snapshot of my.
So home run, first big show at bat, right? Unbelievable. You had to have been jacked up, and then strikeout. What then sent down? What was it? Were you only there because of an injury, or what? What was the deal there?
Yeah, so I'm almost positive that B.J. Upton was getting suspended. He did, I don't know what exactly he did with the umpire or something, but I got called up, and then because of what happened in that game, they needed a bullpen guy the next day, and when you have options in the minor leagues, that's the life. You know, if they need another arm,
right?
Okay, an extra outfielder at the time, you might get sent down.
Right.
Until you're out of options, they don't do that as much.
Got it.
So that's pretty much how that came about.
Oh, man.
They called up a bullpen guy the next day. I went down to Durham.
What was your mindset at that point?
Man, I was just so on cloud 9 just to have made the big leagues. And then, I grew up in the Northern Virginia area, went to Camden Yards. So I had so many family and friends there at the game. So it's like I couldn't have written any better.
Right.
Except for my wife was a sportscaster for Fox in D.C.
Okay.
And she had a 6 o'clock show. And she actually couldn't even make it, so she didn't even get to see my debut. We've always talked about it for years. She's sitting in the parking lot because she's stuck in D.C. traffic.
Wow.
So she missed the debut, but no, I mean, it was amazing. Yeah.
Man, such a cool thing.
Couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
So I'm looking on, we just researched you real quick, and Wikipedia says you got a nickname called La Piñata.
Yeah, what's that about?
I know what you're talking
about. Are you like leaning into these pigeons, or what's going on there?
I think I'm still healing. Still got some bruises 2 years later. No, so what it was is, I think my whole career, my whole life, I'm kind of wired that way. And then as I got older, it kind of trained it in a way, but just never really moved. And
just stay there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in the big leagues, a platoon hitter. So I'm facing a lot of lefties as a right-handed hitter, and a lot of lefties like to pitch me in. No matter, especially a lot of people have cutters nowadays, so a lot of them are throwing me in. I didn't necessarily stand on the plate. I was normal distance, but as my career went on, I would kind of close myself off with the stride, not like purposefully. So then that front foot would get close to that or on the chalk.
Okay.
So if they pitch me in and they miss
leg.
a little bit, it's hitting me. So then it worked to my advantage because, if they didn't want to hit me, then they gotta throw it.
Outside,
they gotta be outside, and then I
right
can get extended.
Yeah.
But hey, man, if I'm 0-2 to Chris Sale and I get hit, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. I'll take that bag.
Yeah, it was honestly though never something I ever did on purpose.
Yeah.
It was one of those weird things what came about.
You just got hit a lot. So what was the best pitcher you ever faced as a batter?
Ooh. I think the toughest was Dylan Betances.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I always knew he was, and I didn't face him a lot. For the most part, I was a platoon hitter.
Right.
Faced a lot of lefties.
Right.
But the times I did face him, have a good amount of at-bats against him. I always know that curveball's coming, but for whatever reason, I always would it would always get me. I don't know what it was. So him and Josh Hader stands out, just super, just tough. I think I had the worst overall stats against lefties against CC Sabathia for whatever reason. I think when I first got caught up in my career, he was like the old CC throwing 95 plus. And then it's like every at-bat, I would always just roll over to Jeter or the shortstop. Every at-bat, I could change my approach, change my visualization before the game. I'd still freaking roll over every time against CC.
Yeah.
So, long way of me saying I think those two guys stand.
Okay, so best player you've ever played either against or with?
Ooh. Lindor, Jose Ramirez stand out. Best defender, Kevin Kiermaier. He was amazing, although it annoyed me at times because I'm playing left or right field and I'm under a ball and he comes out of center field.
Right, just said, that's fine.
Stop trying to get your UZR or whatever that rating is. Those two guys stand out. Oh, man. So many. Michael Brantley.
Okay.
Those guys, top of the list, right?
All right.
I know that I'm missing some guys. I would say those.
I was going to ask you about Lindor because he's been mic'd up on some of these All-Star games and stuff like that, and we watch him and we're like, man, he seems like a really fun guy. He seems like so much fun, really nice. Is he like is he one of those guys people gravitate to and just he's just like the man?
He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy. So when I first got traded to Cleveland, the trade deadline in 2016, played against him a lot, and from playing against him, my first time seeing him, I'm like, he's kind of a little dude, but he's dropping bombs. I'm like, huh? But you see him in person, he's jacked. But then getting to know him, after we lost Game 7 of a 2016 World Series at home, he was the first one to stand up, and I don't know if it was his second year in the big. He's early 20s. Stand up in front of the team and talk. Of all the veteran guys we had, he was the guy who stood up and talked to the team about how proud he was to be a part of it. All this stuff. Basically, I'm trying to say that he has that it factor. He has that thing that the kind of guy you want to have on the team.
Gotcha.
Has the talent, but you know
he's
what
a
you're
leader
gonna get.
too.
He's a leader. You know what you're going to get every single day. Man, he's one of the best for sure.
So, Brandon, you have this program. It's called it's a mental performance coach. It's for Well, I'm going to let you explain it, but it's something for basically high school, college players, even youth players, I would assume.
Yep.
And it's really focuses on the mental side of the game, which, heck, it's something we believe in. We've even brought in a mental coach to our practices before, and we've done everything we can, but it's hard at the youth level. We've got a 12-year-old team, and it's hard at that level because they're all mental cases. And, we got...
They're all everywhere.
They're all everywhere. Yeah. But so tell us a little about your program.
Yeah, so my whole career really obsessed with the mental side of the game and was really fortunate to, like I said, in senior year, it kind of changed the trajectory of my career, starting to work on that stuff going into high school. And then, I talked about the Ken Ravizza book, Heads Up Baseball. 7 years later, I get to work with him in person as he's a team sports psychologist for the Tampa Bay Rays. So got to work with him, got to work with guys like Brian Kane. So really, it's always been an obsession with mine. I feel like I had the physical talent, but I needed to do the things that other players weren't doing, not just to get to the big leagues, but to stay there. So like that, nutrition, sleep, all this stuff. It's really what I cover in this program. So basically, when I retired in 2020, it made the transition easier. I knew what I wanted to do the next part of my career. So I instantly started a company called Fully Equipped Athlete, mental performance coaching, but kind of the whole gamut. But this program is like a distillation of my 15 years playing professionally, close to a decade in the big leagues, working with the best, but also where I differentiate myself from other mental performance coaches. I'm one of the only, there might be a couple others that I've been in these players' shoes at the highest level.
Right.
And then I mix that with working in all the tools and techniques I've gotten from the best of the best in the mental game. So I put that together. The last 2 years, been doing a lot of one-on-ones and traveling around speaking. Now this program is a group program I'm doing on Thursdays, and then Sundays I'm bringing on former teammates. You can see at the bottom there, it's like Jan Gomes, Shane Bieber, Kevin Kiermaier, I think 3 World Series
Raji
champions,
Davis,
World Series MVP, and Steve Pearce, a Cy Young winner. So I'm just really trying to provide massive value. So every Sunday, a different one of those guys will come on. So on Thursdays, there's 8 milestones in the program. I cover a milestone. Then on Sundays, I bring on a former teammate or coach of mine. And it starts next Thursday. And I'm pumped, man. With the group format on Zoom, can just impact so many people positively on and off the field. And this is really what it is all about. I want to help them become the best player, but this program, without a doubt, can and has, just from people who have been through it the last 2 years, helps them become the absolute just best version of themselves on and off the field. And that's really the whole mission and point behind it. And really pumped for it to get started. And the turnout has been amazing so far. And I just cannot wait to get going.
So fullyequippedathlete.com, is that where you would go if you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, so basically they go there, and then I only enroll people through phone calls. So they call me, and which is different.
That is different, but cool.
And I do that. I love just talking to them and everything, but I do that because I only want to invite certain people into the program. Coachable, committed, and passionate. Kind of hold themselves to a high standard, because those are the 3 results I found the last 2 years. They ultimately get the results that they're after and become the absolute best version of themselves. And the cool thing, these last, probably had like 50 plus calls the last 2 weeks, I've noticed, because I always ask, what's holding you back the most when it comes to the mental game? And no matter what age they are, it's 4 root problems. Like a lot of players come in, and my confidence is low, I want more confidence, all that. That's a symptom. There's 4 problems that they come in with. Number 1, fear of failure or making a mistake, no matter what age they are.
Yep.
Number 2, lack of routines, meaning pre-game, in-game, post-game. Also AM and PM, PM being one of the most important. So you got fear of making a mistake or failure, lack of routines, inability to handle adversity. That is the number 1 shift. The players that come through the program, they go from avoiding adversity to all of a sudden looking at it as an advantage. Dude, on and off the field, that makes the whole difference, and easier said than done.
Okay.
But give them the tools and techniques to do that. And then lack of self-discipline.
Okay.
So it's one of those 4, 2, 3, or all of them that these players, young players, especially with social media and all that stuff nowadays, it's a lot worse. It's a lot tougher. And personally in high school, those first 3 years when I was a very average player, I was dealing with all 4 of them.
Right.
I just didn't have the awareness, and mental performance wasn't talked about. But the good thing is it is a lot nowadays. And the truth of the matter is your physical skills are only going to take you 30 to 40% of where you want to go. If you truly want to be great, you truly want to get and get to that potential that's deep down inside of all of us, you got to do the mental side of it. It's 60, 70. You've heard baseball's 90% mental.
Oh, yeah.
It's so true. 2 to 5% maybe in high school level or even college are spending time on the mental side of the game. So if you really, if you're a freak physically, you'll get away with it.
Right. For so long.
You continue to climb up. that talent gap shrinks. So it's what are you doing? That's why I know I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but the one milestone is all about dominating the fundamentals, not the baseball fundamentals, the fundamentals that I'm talking about: eating, sleeping, training, and self-discipline. Self-discipline being the glue that holds it all together. That's all about getting your energy and recovery dialed into world-class levels. And greatness is consistency with these fundamentals if you are a baseball player. So we hammer that in. And it's really all about getting marginal gains. What can you do that other players you're going up against aren't doing if you truly deep down want to get to college, want to get to the pros, want to be the best version of you can be? You got to do stuff other people aren't doing, and that's why I'm so passionate.
Oh, man, I love it.
Freaking fired up right now.
You can tell he's passionate.
Well, I think
Let's
it's awesome. So, what age is this appropriate for? Where would you start from an age standpoint?
Yeah, so far signing up, there's been a 9-year-old, 10, a couple 11, 12
And you think it's okay for that? Because this seems pretty high level.
So it's high level, but I heard this saying a long time ago: to turn knowledge into wisdom, you need to simplify it, and then whoever's looking at it, apply it. So simplify and apply. I've tried to make this program where it's like my 7-year-old or my 6-year-old son could understand it. So I give out a ton of knowledge, but I simplify it so it's easy for them to apply. So yes, every single thing I cover could, I feel like my 7-year-old daughter could go through it. Like the very first thing we go over, it's a habit tracking app we cover. I have them download a free app. The very first 3 things we put in: make your bed, drink 8 to 10 ounces of water, write 3 things you're grateful for. And players, when they first come in, they're like, what does this have to do with baseball?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
So a lot of them come, I don't have enough confidence. My confidence is like a roller coaster. Confidence, the root meaning of confidence is intense trust. So when you have an intense trust in yourself, you have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
But that's just not given. You got to do the things you said you would do, but it's not an intense trust that everything's going to go perfectly. It's an intense trust that it doesn't matter how things go, you'll be able to handle it now no matter what. So how I'm getting to this habit tracking thing is you do those things in the morning, you're building that trust, you're building that momentum that carries you throughout the day. And then as the program goes on, we add a couple more habits in there. So I don't know where I was going with that, but trying to say like those habits, of course, any age could do that. And then as we go on, so to answer your question, it's any age. I don't know if I'd go much younger than like 8 or so.
Yeah, but still, even
28.
I thought you were going to tell me high school or above, but that's awesome. It could get into youth.
Yeah, it's youth. It's high school. It's college. I have some pro guys that have signed up. It applies to everything. And the beautiful thing about this, I call it skills for life. It translates to school. It translates
not just baseball.
Not just baseball, family, relationships. They have this identity. They're not everything tied to baseball. That's like the very first milestone I go over. So, yeah, man, it's passionate. If these players are committed, it changes everything. That's the power of the mind,
So I'm assuming you can find the prices and everything at fullyequippedathlete.com.
No, I cover that on the phone.
Oh, so this is all just on the phone.
Yes, and it starts next Thursday. So there's only.
And they're calling you. They're calling directly to you.
Yep. Every call is about 15, 20 minutes, and I want them to get clarity on what is holding them back.
So are you going to talk to like a 9-year-old on the phone?
Oh, yeah, I have. A lot of times it's parents,
Their parent
too.
calls? Okay.
Yeah. They're both on. Get them clarity of like, okay, what's holding you back? So if they don't want to do the program, they have an idea of what they need to do, Would they get more out of the program? 100%. But, yeah, no, I cover all that on the phone. And
so you're giving that 15-minute phone call just as a courtesy.
Yeah. And like I said, the
sure
call's
it's a
as
good
much
fit.
for me as it is
Make sure
for
it's a
them.
good fit.
No, I understand that. But like, so my 12-year-old, I think, would be a prime candidate for this. But I think his answers would be, well, I don't know. I don't know that he's going to give you insightful answers.
I get some of that, but man, I've been blown away. Remember I said the thing I hear the most, when I ask what's holding you back the most, I can almost guess. They're going to, 95% of the time, it's a fear of failure or fear of making a mistake.
Yeah.
And what's blown me away is that these players are opening up to me. Even with their parents on their phone, they're telling, it's this fear. I can't get over this fear, all this stuff.
That's crazy. That's great, though.
The kids our age, they don't want to upset mom and dad.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Simple. Because I hear it from my son who's 12, and he's like, what if I strike out? And I'm like, what if you do? I'm still going to feed you. I'm still going to take you home.
Your kid needs this as much as anybody,
that's
Rick.
What I was talking about.
He's designed on more succeeding so he doesn't fail.
Right.
A lot of that is the avoiding adversity instead of embracing it. It's going to happen, and then using it as fuel for your growth. In the program, I call that anti-fragile. So you have a spectrum. You have fragile. You have robust, resilient. Resilient's good. Everyone talks about being resilient, but even when you're resilient, you get knocked down enough, you're going to break. You become anti-fragile. You're the opposite of fragile. You become unbreakable. So it's called anti-fragile confidence, unbreakable confidence, or unbreakable trust in yourself, that it doesn't matter how things go. And it's all at these early ages, you can instill these habits and routines. And yeah, man.
So the listeners of our podcast know this well because I talk about it too much. But so my background in sports was in golf. And man, oh my gosh, it's all it is. I mean, you have to win the mental aspect before you ever swing the club. Especially it's so individual and it's so on you. And if you can't figure out how to get it done yourself, then you got no shot. So, I mean, from the golf standpoint, and that's really probably where my son's going to have, an opportunity athletically. I would love something like this for him because I think it would train his brain to think the right way and to help him in an athletic standpoint. So, to me, I'm all about it. I think the mental aspect of this stuff's incredible.
Yeah, and you know what I've noticed? There's a couple main reasons why players, athletes, all sports never work on it. It's either they don't know about it, they've never been taught it, they simply don't want to because young kids want to sweat.
Right.
They like physical. Or they have this fixed mindset where they just believe that they were born with confidence or mental toughness or resiliency or good focus.
Sure,
it's not an inherent skill.
And that's not the case at all.
Yeah, no, we're all born with the gift of adaptability, and just like you train, all of us, we train our body. Athletes train to be faster, to be stronger.
Yeah.
Same things with our mind. We all have it. Mental performance can be trained just like that. And once people see that, they're like, oh my gosh, how have I never trained that before? When they notice the difference on and off the field, what it does for them.
Sure.
So yeah.
Pretty cool, man. So let's circle back to our sponsor here in Guardian Baseball. Why should someone use the Guardian website, use the Guardian services as opposed to everything else that's out there, either Amazon's of your world or going to the Dick's Sporting Goods? Why Guardian?
So I'm new to them. I'm still figuring it out. But what I've noticed so far, before I signed on to be like their product design, I made a couple orders on their website because I wanted.
You wanted to see the process.
I wanted to see the process and got it quick. They threw in an extra shirt, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
But got it quick, and it was just the website's very simple and clean. So it all worked out good, and I know that we're working on getting it out even quicker. And they have the top line stuff, and also. We're doing this private label stuff like the wristbands I talked about earlier. Cool wristbands. You can wear that as baseball players at all sports. It's a focal point. It's a mantra. It changes your self-talk. You can change your programming, and when you change your self-talk, instead of thinking, you just made an error in the field, and you're like, oh God, I hope the ball's not hit to me.
Right.
Something I used to say, something a good amount of players say. All of a sudden, you take that deep breath. Maybe you see breath. Take that deep breath, release the negativity, and now you get back to the present moment. So you have everything you have to compete on the very next pitch. So we're doing wristbands, we're doing shirts like that, private label batting gloves. So it's just different, and I think it's super high quality, and the team's great, and yeah, man.
Yeah, I need something to keep my son's fingernails out of his mouth because he just sits there at shortstop.
Yeah, so yeah. Look, Eli's a different bird in a lot of senses in that aspect, anyways, because he wants to win more than anybody else on the field, no matter who we're playing at all times, and kid takes it so personal.
That's
but
a great quality.
It is a great quality. I mean, that's something that's going to take him pretty far, honestly, in not only sports but life, because he's not. It's grades, it's everything. He just wants to be the best at it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's something that stood out. These calls I've had recently. These kids who put a lot of work in, they almost have that perfectionist in them. They fear of not being perfect.
Yep.
Come back to the fears. Fears are the number one thing. And, the kids like, Eli, that's your son?
Yeah.
He's calling me right now.
Yeah, so he's trying to get him on the phone.
So like they put so much work in, they care so much, then it's a fine line, perfectionist or, the good part of that optimalist.
Yeah.
You're just trying to make the most of everything you have and you rub it up against reality. No, everything's not going to go your way. But, it's hard to do when you're competing at a high level and you want things to go your way. So, that's a big shift to make too, yeah.
So, fullyequippedathlete.com, do you have time to get involved?
Yeah, so there's a couple spots left. So that's the website. This program's called Major League Mindset.
Got it,
It's
yeah.
the very first class. Yep. If people can't get in, I plan on doing 3 or 4 of these a year. And, yeah, the website, that's where you can go to schedule a call. And hopefully you can get in if you're interested, and yeah.
Yeah, man, so cool.
Yeah.
And Brandon, I mean, what a story, dude. First major league at bat home run
It's all downhill.
Two bats later, getting sent down. But you played in the World Series.
In the World Series.
I mean, a lot of cool stuff there, man.
More importantly, I got hit a lot, so yeah.
And a La Piñata.
Yeah.
And the grind. I mean, I'm assuming, like many others, your minor league grind was a lot, right? Tough.
Yeah, this is where this mental performance stuff came in. I hit rock bottom a couple times. So got drafted, had a good rookie ball. So then I got jumped a level to, I skipped high A, went to double A.
Okay.
First 100 at bats there, I'm hitting like 180, not even hitting my weight. I'm like, man, I guess this might not be for me.
Yeah.
Self-doubt coming in, all this stuff. And the best thing that could have happened, I got sent down to high A after a couple hundred at bats after he skipped me, and ended up figuring things out. Change of scenery worked out, and continue to it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Sure.
Like we always hear. And then came back and did well, but yeah, definitely just like a lot of minor leaguers, it's a grind, it's rough. But, it's all about that grit. Grit meaning intense passion plus intense perseverance. You can love it, but if you don't have that perseverance to get through it, then, you're not going to get that far. So those are the ones who make it. And I like to say the big leaguers are big leaguers because they're the best at failing. They're talented, but everyone's talented in the minor leagues. Everyone's talented at high level D1. It's what are you not doing? What are you doing that others aren't? And, how good are you at failing? Do you know how to fail well? Do you know how to utilize every experience that happens to you to use for your growth? Or does it just bring you down all the time? And if I could say one thing, people listening, become great at failing. It doesn't mean you want to fail, but learn how to fail well. It'll do numbers for you on and off the field.
Love it, man. That's a TikTok clip right there.
Yeah.
Learn how to fail well. I love it. Brandon, you've been absolutely awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure joining y'all.
Thanks.